Hello everyone, it's my pleasure having you once again on this segment on newspaper review here in First News Port Harcourt. I am Kings Ojalo. This is the time where I will be taking you through all newspaper headlines in the Federation of Nigeria. Sit tight while I guide you through. Now we will be taking our first news headline coming from the Matrix newspaper. Boldly written on the Matrix newspaper, we have CBN revokes license of ASU Savings Union Homes, cited several regulatory violations under capitalization orders. You find that in page 3 of the Matrix newspaper. We also have Supreme Court ruling on Rivers emergency rule. ADC tackles FG, that is federal government. Now on page 3 of that same Matrix newspaper, we have Senate approved 2026 MTEF/FSP begs oil benchmark at $64.85. Now we have Dangote versus Ahmed Rift. ICPC waived in. Now you find that in page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. Still on the Matrix newspaper, we have drug abuse, now national emergency reps warns. Now moving to the big newspaper, Nigeria. Senate passes 2026 to 2028 MTEF ahead of 54.4 trillion naira budget presentation. Now, still on that same newspaper platform, Niger governor sacks 30 special advisors. We also have no court order stop tinted glasses enforcement, police insists. Now, we will be going to the next newspaper platform, which is This Day newspaper. We have $7 million school fees. ICPC said to probe NMDRPRA's CEO after Dangote petition. Now we have Senate endorse $60 oil benchmark. Crude price falls to $59 per barrel. Now moving to the Vanguard newspaper, boldly written on the Vanguard newspaper, workers facing worst survivor crisis in Nigeria history, coming from the NLC, says citizens being crushed by inflation, insecurity, poor wages. Nigerians now spend 80% of income on food. Now we have Falana to AFG, rearrest 10 soldiers, hiring 400 terror sponsors. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper platform. Now we have boldly written NBA, police disagree over tinted glass permit enforcement. Now we have emergency rule, PDP, ADC differ with AGF over Supreme Court ruling. You find that in page 8 of that newspaper platform. Now we have the Cabal made Buhari lock his room against me. That is coming from the former First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari. Now we will be going to the next newspaper platform, that is the Guardian newspaper. Now we have anxiety, mistrust, clouds, Nigerians, tax reform promises, benefits. That's in page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Now we also have on the Guardian newspaper, Elumelu to chair Transcorp Hotels board. Now let's move to the next newspaper platform, which is the Nigeria Tribune. On the Nigeria Tribune, we have NLC to hold protest over rising insecurity today. We find that in page 2 of the Nigeria Tribune. We also have boldly written, Dangote petitions ICPC, NMDPRA boss fires back. Page 3 to page 18 of that newspaper platform. We also have 2027 PDP rallies ex-governors, ex-minister. You find that in page 5 of that newspaper platform. Now we also have our mafia relatives held Buhari captive, manipulated him in page 3. That is where you find that. Now going to the Daily Sun. On the Daily Sun newspaper, we have Cabal almost killed my husband, coming from the former First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari. They planted bags, sabotage mills, reveals ex-president thought she was after his life. You find that in page 6 of the Daily Sun. Insecurity, no going back on nationwide protests. NLC, you find that in page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Now on page 27, coming from Peter Obi, 18 million unemployed youth, colossal leadership failure. Yes. Now we have on our next newspaper platform, that is the Punch newspaper. Police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protest today. Now that is in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Federal government recorded 30 trillion naira revenue shortfall in 2025. That is coming from Eden in page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Now, still ahead, federal government to acquire 24 fighter jets for 1.2 billion euro. That is in page 14 of the Punch newspaper. US adds Nigeria to travel restriction list, page 7. That is coming from the US President Donald Trump. Now we also have Petrol Battlefield, ICPC plans NMDPRA boss probe after Dangote petition. You find that in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Page 14 of that newspaper platform, massive harm caused undercover in Kogi. Still on page 14, 2027, ADC state chairman lock horns over Congress. On our next newspaper platform, which is the Daily Trust, Labour relies against insecurity. That is on the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, 2023, how Cabal plotted Lawan's installation as APC candidates. Now we have also on the Daily Trust, why CBN revoked license of ASO Savings Union Homes. Still on that same Daily Trust newspaper, Rev swide into detention of NAF aircraft military personnel. Now moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Leadership, boldly written on the Leadership. Bar Association kicks as police prepare to assume tinted glass permit enforcement. You find that in page 16. Yes, coming from the US President Donald Trump. US expels travel restriction, includes Nigeria, page 22 of the Leadership. Now, Dangote seek arrest, trial of downstream authority CEO in petition to anti-graft commission. Now, we also have Senate splashes oil benchmark to $60, backs 54.46 trillion naira 2026 spending plan. That's our last paper on this segment, and that's all we have for you on this show on Newspaper Review. Many thanks for being with us. I am Kings Ojalo. It's a bye for now.